Welcome. This week, I want to speak about covert narcissism. Covert, by its very nature, means hidden. It doesn't mean that this person, you will see a narcissist person and there's no way for you to see a behavior that is manifested. Covert simply means that it's not the overt, obvious grandiosity that you see, or the pumping up of the chest, or going and being the charmer of the room and all of that. Covert is, in a sense, it's not obvious. Covert narcissism is also a vulnerable narcissism. So the terms might be interchanged. You might find somebody uses the word vulnerable narcissist, or the word covert narcissist, or the behavior that is being spoken about. They are essentially speaking about similar things. There are slight nuances, but the key here is this. With covert narcissism, you'll find that the person is able to still just think about themselves without regard, without empathy for the people around them, because the only persons whose feelings, thoughts matter is their own. So, for example, how might a covert narcissist manifest? They might be always holding the responsibility of anything that goes wrong in their life to the environment around them. There is no concept of them acknowledging the responsibility that they hold in their own lives. So, for example, I haven't done well in my life because I didn't have the life chances, or I had parents who didn't quite understand education, or parents who were not loving or supportive, or my health is not good, it's quite poor, hence I cannot do this. If my health was great, I would have been an Olympic champion. Or if somebody has not obtained really good marks and hasn't studied, but they say, if I had the right support like you have had, or if I had money thrown at me, I would have done just as well or even better. So the idea that where they find themselves in life is never their responsibility. And it's almost like life happens to them. And they also will put the responsibility of how they feel onto others. So, for example, if they're talking to somebody, they might say, I would have never felt this anxiety or depression, or my anxiety or my ill health would have never got as bad as this if you had not done X, Y, Z. Do you really think I like being in this position? This is not who I am. But think about the way you have behaved towards me. So really the attention is all about then on what you have done wrong, and nothing about the responsibility that the other person is taking. If you have parents who have these traits, they will be very quick to say, after all I have done for you, you are not doing this for me and doing that for me. Very transactional, forgetting that actually it's a parent's job to be doing whatever that they need to be doing in the first place anyway. They haven't done anything special. It is their job to provide, not because they're going to get something back in return. But this sort of vulnerable narcissism comes out when people want to guilt, shame, or embarrass, or make the other person feel fearful, and therefore get their way. So in a relationship, you may find somebody who is, say, on the verge of losing somebody, or somebody is saying, they realize and they wake up and they said, right, this person is bad news for me and for my mental health. And if they step away, the vulnerable narcissism may come out in the form of, if you go, I will be nothing. My life is going to fall apart. And I'm getting suicidal just at the thought of it. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to commit suicide if you leave. So this idea that you are guilted into staying, you're fearful of into staying because you take responsibility for that other person's well-being and health. And that is what the vulnerable narcissist wants, so that they can absolve themselves of any responsibility that they might have for their own lives. But better still for them, they get the attention that they crave. It may not be the adoration attention, but remember, when I was speaking about narcissism, I said narcissism will manifest in the terms of people wanting attention, be it negative attention or positive attention. It may be in the form of adoration when it comes to grandiose narcissism, but it will be in the form of feeling sorry for you, and it's quite, it's not as obvious when you're looking at the covert narcissism, the vulnerable narcissism. In that instance, the attention is coming to them in terms of people showering empathy on them and attention on them. There are many other ways in which covert narcissism can manifest, but regardless of the way it manifests, it is never helpful to the person on the receiving end. People ask me that if somebody is a covert narcissist or a vulnerable narcissist, are they really a narcissist? Because they are not charming, they are not so suave, they cannot work the room. Many vulnerable narcissists are actually not extroverted, but introverted. They will go and sit quietly in a room, but the moment you go to them and you start speaking to them, you realize that very soon the whole conversation is just about them and how they feel, and they'll want to get attention and milk any empathy that they have from the surrounding onto them. Many vulnerable narcissists or vulnerable narcissism behavior might also come up in where the vulnerable narcissists do not take responsibility for their own, say, health. They may have found themselves in ill health because of not having looked after themselves, because of the lifestyles they've led. But then when it comes to blaming somebody for it or blaming something for it, there will always be an event or a person or a situation or the environment that has led them to experience this. And it'll be along the lines of, if it wasn't for this, my health would have been amazing. Or if it wasn't for this, we're not just talking about health, it could be other things. My social life would have been amazing. My business would have been amazing. So a covert narcissist, they manifest in themselves in just as dangerous a way as, say, the grandiose malignant narcissist. When people say to me that actually the grandiose malignant narcissists are far more dangerous than the covert vulnerable narcissists, I would disagree. I would say that all the behaviors and the manifestations are all not very good, and they are hurtful and harmful to the people that are on the receiving end. There are many other ways in which covert narcissism, this vulnerable aspect, can come through. Think about in your own experiences. And again, I will always point out to look within. When you're in an interaction with somebody, are you left feeling empty? Are you left feeling drained? Are you left feeling like you are either responsible for that person, or you feel guilty for something that actually, when you look back and you think, but was it my responsibility to do this in the first place? Look at your gut, and if your gut is telling you something is wrong, then that is what I want you to start listening to. So all the best till next week, and I will see you where we will cover some more types of narcissism behavior so that you can start to pinpoint the areas in your life where you see these behaviors manifesting. So all the best, and see you next week. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe to this little channel that we have started with all things narcissism, but in particular educating and then going forward in healing from narcissistic abuse. If you are interested in healing from narcissistic abuse, please go onto our website and put your interest down in our healing program that's going to be launched shortly. Thank you very much.